Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly, presented by Catfish Clothing, along with the Dr. Tim Lang. I'm Lyle Stokes. Cindy is here to spin the RigRap prize wheel, and Doc, it's going to be a great show tonight.
Yes, it is. Got my buddy Quinton out of Memphis, Tennessee, and looking forward to having him on the show.
We're going to be talking about catfishing the Mississippi River in the Memphis, Tennessee area, something that's on everybody's mind right now. With Mississippi River monsters coming up before long, everybody's thinking about getting down there, and we're going to find out what the fishing is like down there, and I'm excited to be going.
Yeah, because that's the next big tournament.
It's the next big tournament for me. The big, a big tournament. Well, we've got a couple others coming up. We're going to be fishing Caruthersville and what's that other thing down South Missouri? Cape Girardeau. So we've got some pretty good tournaments coming up too. But Memphis is the one that it's the next mega event. It's coming up.
The others are on my work weekend, so I can't go.
Oh man, that's too bad. That is too bad. Doc, a couple of weeks ago, we had Trevor Niederhoff and Josh Brown on our show.
Yeah, that was a night I had the storms come in here and I couldn't get on.
Yeah, it was a really good guest, and Trevor made a trip to Iowa last weekend. And he actually stopped by my house on his way back through Sunday night. It was really, really cool to see him. He stopped in and we visited for some time yesterday and had a great talk. So it was a lot of fun visiting with him. And Trevor is, since Josh can't fish Mississippi River monsters, and Trevor never has fished that area of the Mississippi River, he's going to be fishing Mississippi River monsters with Cindy and I this year. He wanted to fish it, and we're excited about putting him in the old Lumacraft and seeing what we can do done.
Good deal.
It'll be a lot of fun. If we ever decide to throw an anchor, I think I'll make him the anchor boy.
Yeah.
Younger guys, they got that anchor figured out, don't they?
Unless you don't want to lose it like I did on your first brand new one, never snag.
They make them every day, man.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll do whatever we have to do. Been pretty warm in Missouri. I'm sure Ohio is not much different.
It hadn't been bad. It's rained here the last couple of days. It rained today. It's cleared up right now, but there are storms coming.
Yeah, well, we haven't been so fortunate. We could use a little rain. This is the first week in I can't remember when that I haven't had to mow the yard every 5 days.
Yeah, I'm still on that schedule here.
Well, I'm hoping that we get a little reprieve from that. Not that I necessarily want to see all the grass die, although I would have to mow it then. But it's been pretty warm. We've been having 90s plus every day, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight for a while. So it's something for you to look forward to.
Yeah, well, we got a bunch of people in chat tonight. Boy, they're keeping it hopping.
Yep,
hopefully they'll have all kinds of questions for Quinton.
I'm hoping so. Something that I wanted to visit with you about, but I'll wait until after we get to the back part of the show. But I do want to remind everybody, Father's Day weekend is coming up. If you haven't got your Father's Day gifts bought, Glenn at RigRaps is running a Father's Day special, along with a lot of other guys in the business that's selling stuff for Father's Day and got deals. But you can go to rigrap.com and get in on that deal. It's a heck of a deal for people that haven't figured out what they want to get their catfishermen for Father's Day. And if you get it ordered by, I believe it's noon Wednesday, you can have it there on time. So be sure to be thinking about that.
Yeah, Catfish Clothing is running a special too for Father's Day. I saw that today.
Several of them, and Matthew's got a good deal going on. And there's some other guys. It's hard to remember all of them. I've been on the phone with Glenn a couple of times a day, and that was one of the reasons I remember. But It's something that that people that wait till the last minute can still get it done. So, Quinton Robbins, Mid-South Outdoor Life. Welcome to Catfish.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. You know, I've been watching you guys for a while. It's my first time on the show, and I'm thrilled to be here, honestly.
We're excited about having you on here. I'm quite sure before the end of the night, people are going to want to know about fishing that Memphis area with everything that's going on down there. And you and I was talking earlier today when we done a little test run that you're kind of concerned about the water situation between now and then.
Well, I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't say concerned is the right word at all. I'm actually excited about the water. The lower it gets, the better the fishing tends to be down here. I mean, you know, we never really have a shortage of water unless you're talking about, you know, the absolute extreme low water where you don't have a boat ramp. And I think we're quite a ways off to have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But right now, it's already getting to the point where those fish aren't going to have quite as many options as they've had for the past few months. And typically, we would still have some pretty high water this time of year, and that's not the case. It's getting really good right now.
Awesome.
Hey, are those gigging sticks in the back?
Yeah, actually they are. We do a lot of frog gigging.
Oh, yeah.
Do a lot of it, in fact. We've got some monster frogs right here where I'm at.
I happen to see those. You don't see them much anymore.
Yeah, it's actually a really popular thing. In fact, there's frog gigging tournaments that are held just about 2 miles from my house.
Really?
Yeah.
Now they gig suckers here in our area.
Yeah, that's a little different. We run the ditches here and gig some monster frogs. I've personally weighed a frog almost 2 pounds.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's a giant.
Yeah.
Whisker Sticks, 15% off blue and orange lights for Father's Day until the end of the month. What's your preferred rod and reel for bumping the bottom in current? Quinton?
Oh, well, actually, it recently changed. You know, I've only been bumping about 1.5 years, and I was using a Rippin' Lips medium heavy because it's a fairly lightweight rod, but it did the job. But this one right here, actually, I'm sure you'll recognize the label, the Warrior Cat, if I'm holding that the right way. This is the Gen 3 Warrior Cat. And, you know, I'll be honest, part of the reason it took me so long to get this was he didn't have it in my color, but he made this limited edition color. And, man, I wish I would have just picked up one sooner. The difference in an all graphite or mostly graphite, this one I believe is all graphite, when you're trying to bump, the difference with a rod like that is absolutely everything. And you would have never convinced me of that. Even the guides on it, they had told me that those guides, you know, they're not one-piece guides, and that threw me off at first because everything else I'm buying was one-piece guides. But I'm telling you what, when you have that rod in your hand and you can feel the difference between sand, mud, you can tell if you're hitting a leaf pile. I think if your bait's tumbling into some willows or something, I mean you can feel it all. And that's it for me. That's a 7.3. I'm just blown away with that rod. I did a video not too long ago about selecting a rod, and I kind of played it off like rod selection wasn't that big a deal. But let me tell you something, when it comes to bumping in deep water, rod selection is a big deal, and that rod is awesome. So that's my long-winded version of what am I using. The reel is just a Cast King Rover. It's nothing special, but the rod is very special.
Well, you know, I get asked a lot about bumping rods and stuff. Guys say, well, why don't you use carbon? And the simple fact is a carbon blank is not as sensitive as graphite, and will not take the abuse that big blues dish out. They just won't.
Right.
If they made a carbon blank that was good as graphite, I'd be using it. But until they do, there's no sense of trying to push stuff up on people. It's going to give them issues. So, that's the reason.
I don't know I can't imagine what the benefits to going to carbon would be. I mean, that I weighed that rod. It's like 6 ounces.
Yeah.
I mean, with the reel on there, it's like 1 pound and half of an ounce. That's nothing.
Yep.
And I'm a dummy when it comes to building rods. I know nothing about it, but according to John from Warrior Cat, these guides are so hard that they actually promote you being able to feel, everything all the way through the blank. And like I said, I thought that was goofy. But once I started using it, I believe everything he said about it, because the difference is absolutely massive over a standard rod.
Yeah, there is just all the difference in the world. All the difference. The graphite is just so sensitive, and the good quality.
You can use a smaller weight with it too. I used to have to use the big weights all the time.
Yep.
Man, there's places where I was using an 8-ounce weight. I can use a 2 or 3.
Yep.
Because absolutely everything goes right through that rod, right into your hands.
Yep, that's exactly right. And if the blank is not too big around, you can use a graphite reel seat that has a hole in the bottom of it where your finger actually lays on the blank. A lot of people think that makes a difference too. Personally, the way those reel seats are fastened to the blank, it's just like it's made on it. So really, I don't see where that really has a big bearing on it, but some people just want them. The issue with that is they only make those in 17 millimeter and smaller. So if the blank diameter is larger than 17 millimeter, you can't do it without grinding the blank down, and nobody wants to change the diameter of the blank, because then you're going to take a chance on it breaking.
I see. Do you like a 7.6, or you like a little bit shorter for bumping?
I like a 7.6. I've tried 8 ones, and they're just too long in the boat. And 7 foot, the way we do it is not long enough to get past the end of the boat, especially for Sydney, because she's a little shorter. But she does like a shorter blank than I do. But 7.6 is about the optimal.
I see. I chose that 7.3 because I was so used to using a lot of weight to bump down here at Memphis that I thought the point of leverage would be a little easier and less fatigue over the course of a long day. I mean, because sometimes I was bumping 16 ounces. And so I thought the shorter leverage point would be better. And it is good. I like it very much. But heck, I'm using such light weights with that rod now, it kind of didn't matter.
That's right. That's the whole thing. Like I say, Doc, I don't remember. Maybe you do. What we bumping down in Memphis the last couple of years, but
4 ounces,
3 and 4 ounces. What we was using, doing that in some pretty hot current.
Yeah.
So
you guys have only been down here. You guys have only been down here in September for River Monsters, right?
Yeah. I was there last year in August too.
Okay. So I've been doing so much bumping in high water that, just trying to get better and better at it. I can't wait for the good conditions. I mean, I've been going out there when the water's 30 foot over zero, whereas in September it's down anywhere from 0 to maybe 8 foot over. And so I've been bumping in a lot of water, and that used to require a lot of weight, but not anymore.
Yeah.
I could see paying for the rod by not having to buy so much lead over some time,
Well, I mean, it's just the lighter weight you could use and the bigger bait to do the same job. It's just more efficient. That's all.
That's right.
Bradley Young wants to know, when you're bumping, say in faster current like the Missouri River, do you run rods bouncing the bottom as well?
Okay, I heard part of the question. I believe the question was when I'm bouncing or bumping or whatever they want to call it. Are they asking if I'm also running a side rod?
Yes.
Okay, so I make that decision first of all based on if I'm in the boat by myself or if I have a person fishing with me, of course. And And then if I'm new to the stretch of water, I'm not even going to bother running a side rod. It would just, I think it would just cause me more headache and take away from how effectively I could cover the water. Because if you don't have some idea what's down there, you don't know how consistent the bottom is. You know, putting out a side rod, you're just going to hang up, I feel. But if I've drifted a section before and found that it's somewhat consistent and not too much rock, then yeah, I'll go ahead and run a side rod, even if I'm by myself.
Yeah, I'd like doing that also. Thomas Heath made a comment on here, and I am 8 blank. Wow. I'm not sure what that pertains to, but I am 8 or 7 or 6 is not a standard for measurement of the quality of the blank. There's a few companies that use that, but to determine the quality of the blank, it's by how many million modulus of graphite is actually in the blank. The standard for production rod companies is 35,000 million modulus of graphite. The quality blanks are 50 million modulus and above. But none of the production companies that I'm aware of use that kind of stuff because they're just so expensive. And you can get 2 million modulus of graphite in them to where they are brittle. Actually do that. So you have to be careful about which rods you use. Some of the saltwater blanks that guys are trying to use are so good and so sensitive that they got too much graphite in them. They're actually brittle and they won't take a bend of a big fish and they'll snap.
I just saw something scroll by in chat where a guy said him and his pop run. It says they bump 8 rods at a time.
I'd like to see that.
It's not possible to bump. I think that's dragging, you know. But that's one of the weird things about bumping the bottom. Everybody calls it something different. That sounds like suspending or dragging to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. Now, suspend drifting, depending on what part of the country you're in, you can. And in Missouri, you're only allowed 3 per person. On the Mississippi, 2 unless they're marked. But in some places, you can run as much as 16 or even unlimited amounts of dock.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I've seen those going. They look like porcupines.
I really don't want to catch that much bait.
Yeah. Hey, guess what time it is?
Hey, it's time to spin the old RigRap prize wheel.
That's right.
And I happen to have it all loaded up. All right. Quinton, pick me out a number between 1 and 5.
I'm going with number 1.
Number 1, I like that. It's one of my favorite numbers, actually. And the winner is AJ Giannetto, Giannetto. And let's just see.
I want to see her spin the bearings right out of that thing.
All right. Well, she wasn't here last week, so she might have a strong arm tonight. She got close.
Oh, that thing is loose tonight.
Tighten the brake up. Hooker's Terminal Tackle. AJ, if you'll contact the guys at Hooker's Terminal Tackle and tell them you want a package of Reaper hooks on Catfish Weekly, they will get them right out to you. They're a great sponsor to our show with some great products, and we're so proud to have them as part of the RigRap prize wheel. Just contact James R. Wood, and he will hook you up with your prize. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the RigRap prize wheel game.
I hope you guys don't mind that I'm sitting here tying up skipjack rigs while we do this.
Somebody asked what you were doing.
They look familiar. I believe I have some just like that on my desk.
Yeah, I think that's right. You do, don't you? You haven't tied yours up, though, have you? Or did you get the pre-tied ones?
No, they sent me some, and I haven't tied them up yet. I haven't been anywhere to really need them yet.
I see.
And what I'm sold on them. Talking about
these are the ones that Marty and Bob are doing, the Shamalure jigs.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I'm so sold on them. It's not even funny. I actually did a testimonial video, which I've never done before. It's not, you know, that was kind of new for me, but that's how much I like them. Marty and actually, I think Bob ties all of them, but
No.
they're powder coated, and I don't know what kind of wrap they're using that makes them stay together. But I saved some of these to show you guys. Look at this. Since I was out doing it anyway. Okay, so all three of these came off one that I tied up myself. I've taken it on 2 trips to go get skipjack. I'm gonna try to show it here. Well, let me spread them out. See how all the paint is intact because it's powder coated. How they basically look new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, this rig right here lasted 2 trips, you know, because I didn't lose it in the rocks. But my point is, we're talking somewhere between 120 to maybe 130 or 40 skipjack on these jigs, and they look new versus just a standard marabou that you'd buy from. I mean, you can see this thing looks half dead. There ain't a bit of paint on that. I mean, and this jig, or these 2 jigs that were tied together, I would say maybe have 25 fish on them versus 100 and something fish.
Yeah.
That's a testament to the durability. I don't know what kind of powder coat they're using. I don't know if they got something from like when NASA shut down there in Florida, if they went down there and hit the yard sales or what, but that powder coat is legit.
I know guys have been telling me for quite some time here that they are the most durable, fastest skipjack catching machines that they've used in a long time. And I've got other guys telling me they're using them to catch bluegill and panfish and even a bass or 2 on them. So
to even talk about durability of a jig, I thought it sounded kind of silly. But then when you think about, well, if your goal is to go and load up, you know, on a few dozen skipjack, why would you want to waste time changing out tube jigs and, you know, messing with tackle tearing up? I want one that I can leave the same thing tied on and just go get my business done and be gone.
that's right. That's right. And those hooks are sharp.
They are sharp. You get near them, you're going to bleed.
That's
Plus,
right.
they do, look at this, they do custom too. There was some guys, I had went over to Pickwick, and there were some guys doing good with red and white. And they were just using red and white tube jigs and changing them out all day and whatever. I didn't have any red and white. So, and I didn't want to just get tube jigs because I'm sold on these now. So I hit the Shama lure guys up, but I didn't want just standard. This is their standard red and white. And I'm sure it works great. But I said I want a little bit more flash than normal. So they sent me a custom one. You see the increased amount of flash?
Wow.
And I had them in like 3 days.
Pretty natural looking presentation with those.
Well, they work, I'll tell you that.
Cliff Miller said Moon Eye will eat them.
Well,
What's that?
Cliff Miller says Moon Eye will eat them.
he wants to, it will Moon Eye eat them.
That I don't know.
And other people are asking, where can they go to get them?
Well, I don't know if they have any retailers. I just get them straight from Shama Lures, their Facebook page. And I know it's a strange name. It took me a while to even figure that name out, but it's spelled, they put me on the spot here live, CHAMOLURES, Shama Lures, Facebook. And I think the way they're doing all of them is you just message them at their Facebook page what you want. And, you know, if they, let's say they send you out some of their standard colors based on what you ask for, if you want it different, just call and say, hey, I'd like, for example, if you want more flash, tell them you want more flash. If you want the body to be a different color than the head, tell them that. And like I said, I got mine in 2 or 3 days. So
yeah, Bob, he's very efficient. He actually, they done a live, Facebook Live here a while back, and he actually built some during the Facebook Live thing, and he just whipped them right out. So, but yeah, he's back for doing it. I seen something just went, but David Funk, you can't bump on lakes and reservoirs, you have to be somewhere where there's current. Now, if there's current in your reservoir, you can, but you have to, it takes an amount of current to be able to nose your boat into the current and drop your trolling motor, and the current is dragging you backwards while your trolling motor is just slowing down the backward progression of the boat, and you back bounce the bait behind the boat as it's going backwards through the current.
And don't get near a channel marker, because man, those things will suck you in.
Yes, they will. They will do that for sure.
They got a different kind of current all around them.
Yes, they do. Especially when they're over off the end of dikes or around the ledge up on shallow water. Absolutely. I see Mr. Dieter Melhorn is in the house, yakking with Sarah. Glenn with RigRaps. There's a Virginia Fisherman. There's a whole bunch of people in chat tonight. We have 116 live viewers at the moment. So things are good, Quinton.
Yeah. Hey, I'm whoever wants to join us and ask questions, I'm all about it.
Absolutely. That's one of the fun things about doing this show. If anybody has questions for Quinton, don't be shy. Get them on in there, and we'll present them to him and see if he can answer them for you. I'm sure that he can.
One of the things that I personally would feel kind of, I don't know, it's been bothering me lately. I've been almost feeling guilty for not doing a video about it on my channel. And I am actually working on a video about it. It's just not done yet because it's kind of involved, is safety on my river, on the Mississippi River. I don't know if you guys mind if I touch on it, but it's just
right ahead.
I'm out there all the time, and I do all these various different videos from all over the Mississippi River, and I get people asking me all the time about, is their boat big enough to go on that river? Or, they'll ask me different location-related questions about the Mississippi River. And for a long time, I've wanted to do a video specifically about safety. I almost feel like it's an obligation, because it's like I'm showing people to go out there and fish, but there are dangers out there. And I do have a video coming for that, and I hope that people will watch it, because I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the main things that a person who's new going out there needs to be aware of before they ever get there. Things to consider when they're out there. Things like, I personally think that you shouldn't go out there at all, ever, no matter if it's your first time or your 100th time, without checking the level before you go. And by that, I mean, go online to your favorite river gauge and actually know that number. If it's 210 or 232 on the Memphis gauge, you need to know that, so that when you're out there learning the structures and the obstacles and the challenges, you can associate that depth, so that the next visit, let's just say if it went from 210 to 208, there might be something new popping up. Or if you believe that where the dikes are at 210 and it goes to 218, that maybe you've got some clearance there. So I would say that's something that I'll be talking about more in depth, is knowing the level before you go every single time. And understanding that just because the river goes down doesn't mean it's going to be slower. Just because the river goes up doesn't mean that there won't be obstacles. Like, for example, I believe I've already shown in a video the channel markers themselves that are supposed to show you where wing dikes are. Those by themselves can be extremely dangerous. They're 7 foot tall, they're 400 pounds, and they're made of steel, and they're on a steel cable. And believe it or not, those giant buoys, they go up and down like a bobber when the water gets to certain heights.
Yeah.
They might stay in a pretty fixed position for months, and then when the water gets to a certain height, you can literally be driving up the river and watch one go down and come back up and down and come back up, just like a bobber. And if you're complacent about that, and one comes up right in front of you because you weren't paying attention early, then you've got this 700-pound steel object popping up in front of your boat at 20 miles an hour. I think that blew my mind when I saw that, and I'm going to show that in the safety video. And probably one other one that I want to mention before we get off the air is if you want to go out on these big rivers, and it's not just the Mississippi. I believe the Missouri is probably similar in a lot of ways. Is if you're in more than, I want to be conservative and say 1.5 miles an hour, but we'll just say if you're in more than 2 miles an hour of current and you're even remotely new to rivers, don't anchor. If you want to fish near that fast current, and I'm telling you right now, there's nowhere near Memphis where you're not going to have fast current. Even when the water's low, it's going to be 3.5 miles an hour to 7 miles an hour. Don't anchor, especially if you're by yourself. Beach your boat or tie it to a tree over against the side and get out of it and fish off the bank. Make a lot of trips before you even consider anchoring. And when you do begin to start anchoring on the big river with the big current, don't do it alone. Someone needs to be handling the anchor and someone needs to be handling the boat.
And have a knife near the boat.
Anywhere. Yeah.
See, I was just going to stick with don't anchor. But if you do, have a knife right there. But I'm going to go into depth on all that. I'll cover it better in an upcoming video. If you have not subscribed yet and you want to go on big rivers, go on my channel and subscribe. I'm bringing you a good safety video. It is serious. I mean, I've had multiple instances, most of them complacency or stupidity induced, where I've had close calls, and I would hate to know that somebody watched one of my videos and just thought, oh, I'm just going to go out there and fish. And they had a life-changing moment. I wouldn't want that. So take it serious if you do go, and consider those tips. Know the level, watch for the markers, and don't anchor.
Yep. Dieter, 7 mile an hour current is not unheard of. And I know you think that that's just to getting it, but there's a lot of times we've been in a lot stronger current in the Midwest than that. So, when the water's
last year that when we got down there, it was at 9.
Yeah. Missouri River, if the water's up on the Missouri River, 7 mile an hour is pretty standard. Now it's not year round, but 7 mile an hour. I mean, the guys that from the Midwest that have grown up with that kind of current, it's not really a big deal because most of us was taught correctly how to deal with it. But from guys that have never seen it, it's different. Yeah.
Well, like last year, in the year before, I believe, was it the year before where we saw the buoys coming down at us?
Yep.
Yeah, we were in your boat. Yeah, I mean, it's you looked over and there it was. So just to reiterate what Quinton was saying, you have got to stay on your toes the whole time that you're out there fishing. You can't be relaxed.
No.
So, and then when you get a fish on, then you got a whole new set of issues that comes up.
And the thing is, it is relaxed. It's too easy to relax because it's beautiful out there. The people don't understand these gigantic, gorgeous, untapped sandbars and all the trees and all these birds that look like they came straight from the coast. And it's so far across there. You think everything is far away and it's safe. And so it is easy to get complacent because you think everything is far away from you when it's a mile wide. And then the next thing you know, there's a barge 50 feet away, or you're getting too close to a channel marker, or a channel marker pops up in front of you. Crazy. Yeah. So not to be taken lightly.
That was my next point before we get off of this subject is those barges in your area are huge.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest barges that are pushed anywhere in the world. And these things are so quiet with the noise of the river and the fact that the advancements on these barge motors and stuff, they'll sneak up on you. And if you're not paying attention, not only to the current, they're on you. And if they blow that horn, it's almost too late. You should already been moved. You got to get where they want to go You got to stay out of their way.
An average tow down here is a 1/4 mile long, which means the actual motor is a 1/4 mile behind the front of the tow, and sometimes more. And not only is it a 1/4 mile away, but it's sort of tucked in behind the load to mask the noise. Most of the time, you're going to hear the wake coming off the front of the boat long before you hear the motor, and that
correct.
should sort of tell the stories how they can sneak up on you.
That's exactly right.
And there's a bunch of them too.
That's true.
Yep, there is a bunch of them. There's a lot of barge traffic. Doc, you know what that sound means?
Yep. Time to spin again.
Let's do it. Quinton, do you have another number in mind for us?
I do. Number 1 again.
Number one again.
I happen to like number 1.
I'm liking that.
Can I choose?
The winner this time around is Rod Wise.
Did he get a new car?
No, I don't think he got a new car. Now, I'm not 100% sure of that. He might have got a new car, but I'm pretty sure he did not.
We need to see Ford on the RigRap prize wheel next, as soon as you get around to it.
I would actually enjoy that.
Yes, I would. We both own Ford.
RigRap Reel Repair. Rod, if you contact RigRap Reel Repair on Facebook, tell them you want a reel cleaning on Catfish Weekly. They will send you their address where you can send your reel down there. While you're at it, you might as well send a couple of them down there. But you'll get one free one. The guy does an amazing job. He really is working to get the catfish industry's business and doing wonderful things for not only reel cleanings, but reel repairs of all kinds. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly and playing the RigRap prize wheel game.
Hey, Quinton, give me another number, and I'm going to give away an offshore tackle hat.
Okay. I'm going to go with 5 minus 4, so number 1.
All right. And the winner is Patriot Dredgers and Catfishers. Patriot Dredgers and Catfishers. You have won an offshore tackle hat. Get with Doc after the show and send me your name, address, and I'll get it out in the mail to you. And thanks for being in the chat. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, just for those of you that haven't been in the show the entire time, we are visiting with Quinton Roberts of Mid-South Outdoor Life. And Quinton, we had a question a minute ago. What was your YouTube channel? If you would go ahead and tell everybody how they can watch your videos and where they can find information out about you and your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. So the channel name is Mid-South Outdoor Life. I only put my video content on YouTube. I know there's some other outlets out of there, but YouTube is where I put my content. Probably 90% of my content is catfishing related, but I do some other things as well. It's all family friendly. We never get too crazy on there. It's not necessarily all educational. I try to do more entertainment based videos than educational, but sometimes we will do some how-tos in there. And also, there's a Mid-South Outdoor Life Facebook page, and that's a good way to know when I'm going live. I know that a lot of people are new to YouTube live videos, and if you don't subscribe to the channel, you won't know when we're going live. But another way to know if we're going live is to like my Facebook page, Mid-South Outdoor Life, and sometimes there'll be notifications of it on there. I'll tell the approximate time that I'm going live. And when we fish live, you can actually interact with us. You can talk to me while I'm fishing, which I love. I just want to say to my subscribers that are in here watching tonight, I love it when you guys get on my live fishing videos. I've only done a few of them, but it's easily one of my favorite things to do. You guys tell me places to cast and kind of sometimes rib me a little bit, talk a little bit of smack. I love the live stuff.
It's a lot of fun. It really is. And if you have somebody with you, it's even more fun because you get to interact with people that may be watching just to see them or just to see you, and then they can get involved with it too. and it's just a blast doing that. But I enjoy the live shows when you or Dieter or any of the other guys, Luke, some of them guys do live shows. I really enjoy them if I happen to see them on there, because it adds a different dimension because it is live. It's a recorded show.
Yeah,
it does. I was hesitant to do them at first because, you know, you don't always catch fish. You turn that camera on and you might not catch a fish for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
it is.
People still seem to like it.
That's right. You're getting what's happening. And Luke Hinges, I've watched him for 2 and 3 hours at a time when they didn't catch fish. But he's such a blast to do what he does. That doesn't matter. It's Luke. You're going to watch him regardless. You know, Dieter's another one.
Yeah.
Shows when Dieter does his live stuff, when he has slow days, and maybe he'll catch 1 or 2, or the time I'm watching, maybe he didn't catch any. But it's still okay because I'm watching because I want to see Dieter Miller or Luke Hinges or Quinton Robbins. The catching the fish, from my perspective, is a bonus part of the show.
I agree.
Quinton, Jimmy Woodward wants to know, why did you choose a pontoon to fish from? That's a good question.
That's an excellent question. And I'll do my best to not be too terribly long-winded about that. I have a habit of that. But I just envisioned something totally custom. I wanted it to be roomy because I wanted to go after larger species. I had several traditional boats. Most of them were old and they were junk. But actually, at the time, when I decided to do the pontoon build, I had a new late model boat, and I just cooked up in my head this idea of building what I considered the ultimate utility fishing boat, something easy to clean and easy to, I guess, handle big fish. And I broke out the duct tape and I made a map of the boat layout in the floor of my shop and listed my boat for sale and started buying aluminum. And that's kind of how it happened. I drove from here to Knoxville, Tennessee, and bought a used pontoon and took it apart.
Awesome.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know if that even answered the question, but that's how it went down.
That's pretty cool. And it handles the Mississippi with no issues.
It's fantastic. Here's the only issue that I have with it on the Mississippi. I mean, yes, it doesn't get very good fuel mileage. My old boat got 12 miles to a gallon, and this one gets 6. But my only real issue is when you go behind a wing dike, when you're going from a consistent current to behind a wing dike, especially when the water is low enough to actually have to go all the way around the wing dike instead of go over the wing dike, that current seam and that complete separation, the complete perpendicular current can be pretty dangerous when it hits the side of the pontoon. If you're not, you got to go in slow. You got to go in behind the wing dike slow. You got to come out from it slow. I've been hit so hard by that current seam that I thought I would flip the entire pontoon on its side. And that goes back to being complacent. I pulled in there at maybe 6 miles an hour instead of 2.5 miles an hour on a violent current seam and just almost needed new shorts. But other than that, it's great. Wind chop, man, you can have 2-foot wind chop and you don't even feel it. You know, I mean, it rides amazing. If it's real big barge water, I'm talking about the big ones, like 5-foot rollers that if you've got a upriver barge that's loaded, he's going to make big rollers. But if that upriver barge happens to be, let's say, going on an inside bend close to a wing dike, well, weird things happen at the end of those wing dikes. And man, I'm talking about easily 6-foot rollers in that scenario. But you know what? I think any boat in that, you got to really slow down and just kind of go up and over them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't complain about it other than that. I love it. I think it's great.
Okay, so I've been seeing this since we started. So let me Sir Slots-a-Lot wants to know, Quinton, why did you choose a 2-pound bass to slap me upside the head with? Is that somebody you know?
Yeah, I remember that. Next question.
All right.
Let's just say no fish was harmed in that.
You know, Quentin, we talked earlier before the show when we was testing stuff today about the amount of gas mileage, and you pulled that pontoon a long way to Quincy, Illinois.
Indeed, I did. Indeed, I did.
Now, when you're pulling them great distances like that, it costs you more to pull them, and they're a little harder to pull, especially if the wind's blowing, than an average boat.
That is correct. Fortunately, I spent some extra time on my trailer before I ever started working on the boat, and I feel like it does a pretty good job of toting that thing around. I have trailered that pontoon. This is not an exaggeration. I keep up with it. You know, the F-150s have a trailering mileage meter in there. I have trailered that pontoon 24,000 miles in 2 years. So I tend to keep it going.
Cool.
Yeah. I like to get out there.
Yeah, and that's good. I know that you tow yours a lot, and most of the people that I know that actually use pontoons a lot, they keep them at a marina somewhere. They don't.
That's correct.
That much. That way they don't have to worry about a wind when they're loading them or this or that. They just go down there, crawl in them, and take off. And most marinas are somewhat out of the wind and very little current, so they don't have issues that you have when you load them and unload them, such as you do your own.
That's correct. You know, as far as loading and unloading, I learned a long time ago not to drive that trailer too deep. To me, that's a major key. If you drive your trailer too deep, your boat's going to float all over the place, back and forth and sideways. And I'll have 4 foot of the front of those bunks sticking out, and I don't know. It's just real easy to line the pontoons up in those guides. And fortunately, I put plenty of motor on there. It's got enough torque. It'll drive as far up the trailer as I want to, and it'll push my boat, or it'll push my truck up the ramp. You know, the truck will have the emergency brake on, and I can easily make the truck rock forward with the motor. So getting it up there as far as I need to is not an issue. I don't have too much trouble loading it.
That's good. That's good.
Bottom Dollar Outdoors wants to know, did you go with oil bath hubs or greasable hubs?
I'm not 100% sure I know what an oil bath hub is, but they are Dexter Easy Lube hubs, both of them. Both of them are the type that when you put your grease fitting on there, the grease goes all the way to the back of the hub and out a hole from the back bearing. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
Pushes grease out to the front.
Yeah, oil bath ones that run in oil all the time, and you don't ever have to grease them.
That's correct. And I actually, at the end of my first year, I replaced the bearings because I thought it was a good idea because I had done 17,000 miles. And they looked brand new. They were perfectly tight. They felt just like they felt exactly like the new ones that I put in there. Just because I guess I check it every once in a while, put grease in there. I don't know how many miles they're supposed to go, but they didn't need replaced then, and they're new again now. So.
Well, they pretty much will go forever as long as you don't get water intrusion into them, and then you get a little bit of rust in there.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell a lot of people, don't mix the grease. Once you get a grease started in there, stick with that same grease.
So you can monitor the color?
Yeah, well, no, you just don't. It's not a good thing to mix greases anyway.
Okay.
Also agree, Doc, that I think the marine type grease that's made for boat trailers, higher quality than what to use on automotive, because the automotive stuff, although I used it for years and years, it doesn't have anything to keep moisture out because water doesn't get in them like they do boat trailers.
Right, correct. Yeah. I've had less issues. A couple of years ago I went to the red and tacky stuff and I've had less problems. I mean it's a pain to get in there because it just, it's real thick.
Yep.
But, as long as, you can get some water in there and it just pushes it right out.
Yep. That's a fact.
Let's see. I saw something on here. Quinton, you mentioned you spend the majority of your time catfishing. What else do you enjoy fishing for?
All the species of catfish. No, I've fished for everything in my life. As a kid, we fished for whatever happened to be close to where we lived. If that was catfish or brim or bass or whatever. I spent a number of years only chasing bass. I got infatuated with trout fishing for a while and did that for several years. But like a lot of people that I'm sure are logged in here tonight, I got on YouTube and I saw some people catching some big catfish with a consistency, and that did it for me. I decided to go after it, and other than videos, I'm self-taught. I had never done it until I built the Loose Hill 4. I built that boat to learn to catfish, and that's what I did. Built the boat and went out there and got after it and started chasing catfish. As far as what else do I like to catch besides those, believe it or not, I actually really like to eat gar. I guess a lot of people don't like them, but I think a lot of people are confused about them. My whole life I heard all these things about gar that aren't true. People say they're bony. They say they're poison, all this different stuff. But the reality is gar make, like pound for pound, gar produce far more boneless meat than a catfish does. And properly cared for, if as long as you get them on ice, they taste amazing. They're not, they're just really good. I think more people should try them. I don't know how all those bad rumors got started. They have a white meat. It's boneless. You get these 2 boneless back straps out of the full length of a gar. Granted, it's not like normal fish. It's very, very much. I compare it to like an alligator nugget, or if there's such a thing as a high-end chicken nugget, I would put it kind of like that.
Chicken. All right.
Yeah, people call them trash fish, and I don't get it. I think those people they haven't tried them. They've just heard from their dad. Like I always heard from my dad, oh, that's not good. Or, your neighbor would say, oh, you catch a gar, you throw them on the bank, or you put a stick in their mouth and throw them back in the water so they'll die. Wrong. You take them home and eat them, or give them to somebody who will eat them, because they're good. I would love to see that bad stigma go away with gar and even Asian carp. Everybody gets so upset about Asian carp, but let me tell you something. If you'll take Asian carp straight out of the water, knock that fillet off and put it in your cooler on ice immediately, that is fine eating fish. But
all white meat.
Oh man, it is. One thing about Asian carp is that the meat will turn really quick. Like if you let it get warm, it's done. It's not going to be good. It sort of gets kind of gray. Not that the color itself is a problem, but it's not as sweet and sticky as if you keep it cold. You got to take that fish out of the water, get that fillet off there, put it straight in a cooler, and take it home and enjoy it. Because it's actually really good eating fish. You gotta pick the bone out, take those fillets and bust them open, and those big robust bones will show themselves. But how many people put effort into eating peel them and eat shrimp, where you have to peel the tail off, and crawfish, you put effort into that. I say instead of getting upset about Asian carp, start eating them. And we're not going to get rid of them, but we need to be eating them because they're pretty good as long as you keep the meat cold.
Yeah, I've ate Asian carp and I haven't ate no gar. I have no intentions to, but
what if I cook you some?
Well, be about like eating hog genitals. I'm not. I got that. I had them by mistake one time too, and when I found out what they was, I just about got sick. But regardless, the Asian carp is very good, and I'm not saying I wouldn't eat gar. I just really don't have desire to them for them. But
sure.
The Asian carp is very white, flaky textured meat, and it's good. It's good smoked. It's good fried. I mean, to be quite honest, I haven't had it yet that I didn't think it was good.
Yeah. I have made the mistake of not cleaning it fast enough and let it get gray, and I don't know why, but it just loses the sweetness, I guess. But you keep it cold, man. It's flaky, white, sticky, sweet. And they say it's a good fish for you because they don't eat other fish that might be filled with mercury. All they do is filter the plankton, so it doesn't have the contaminants.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. So they're a delicacy overseas. They eat them by the tons over there.
Yeah, that's well. In fact, they're importing them from here back there. So that's
exactly right. Quinton, I got a couple of questions. We're running short on time here, but what advice would you give new YouTubers for getting started?
That's a good question. I saw that asked on another Catfish Weekly episode, and I actually put thought into that. My first one, and it probably actually affects, I got 3 of them. It probably affects all 3 of them, is be honest. Be honest about about who you are and what your channel actually is. And what I mean by that is we don't all have to be experts. There's no need for every YouTuber that wants to do fishing videos to think that they have to be an expert. We don't all have to be educational. We don't all have to be funny. But at the same time, be honest about the quality of your product that you're putting out. In the same vein, don't try to copy another guy. We don't need 20 channels showing rigs. Everybody's an individual, and every individual out there has value. If you want to do videos, do you. Don't try to be another channel. And then my last one, and this is, I guess, just something I've been experiencing a lot lately. Don't spam for subs. I get all these messages all the time. People say, I subscribe to your channel, subscribe back. Well, maybe your channel is not something that I necessarily need to subscribe to, but furthermore, if you only subscribe to my channel to get me to subscribe to yours, I think you see where I'm going there.
I do.
But the big one is just be honest and know that you have a value without having to copy somebody else.
I get that all the time. And most of the time I just delete the message and go on, because I'm with you. If the only reason they're subscribing to our channel is so I will in return subscribe to theirs, chances are I probably don't want to subscribe to it to start with, or I already would have.
That's right. And on the other side of that, I have people that have been following me from the beginning that constantly leave these really positive comments on these videos. And over and over and over, you can tell that they recognize and enjoy a value in what I'm putting out. And, man, that's what it's about. I love the feedback from the people that actually want to see it. And even if they're just giving a thumbs up, most of the time I'll look at those comments and I'll go look and see if they have a channel without them asking for it. And guess what? If they got a halfway decent video, I'm going to subscribe. There's a kid that lives 20 miles from me. He was commenting on my videos, and he puts out some bass fishing stuff from behind his house. And you know what? It's beginner level, but I just enjoy the heck out of it because I know that, he's a little dude with a passion for fishing, and that'll get, that's the stuff I want to subscribe to, not somebody spamming.
That's right, and that's the future of our sport. You and I talked about that earlier, and there's a couple of kids that I've been watching a lot of stuff on. They've done a really neat video on catching bluegills the other day. I enjoyed it as much as I did some of the guys that's putting out videos for years. They've done a nice job, and I'm guessing they're in their late teens, possibly early 20s. I don't know for sure. I don't know the guys, but I've watched 2 or 3 of their videos, and for starting out, they're doing a bang-up job. Now, them are the guys that'll be taking our spots at some point down the road and doing different things that everybody's going to be looking up to because they got their heart in the right spot, and they're trying really hard at an early age to do it correctly, and that's what I enjoy as much as anything. And they probably don't have 10 subscribers at this point, and I'm, so. All right.
Yakking with Sarah wants to know, are you coming to next year's conference?
Absolutely. I had a blast. And let me tell you something, the food in Louisville was enough to go back for.
Yes, it was.
Good.
My goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Not so much rain, please.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit less than that. I'll take less than that, and then I'll take some more food.
The food was excellent. The rain was horrendous. I mean, we took our dog down there, and I walked her constantly, as you do with dogs, and I was wet the entire weekend. It's just the way it was. Do you plan on starting a guide service anytime in the near future?
Not in the traditional sense. Certainly not in what most people picture a guide service. I actually do have a goal that kind of runs somewhat parallel to that, and I've actually never talked publicly about it. I've never made a public announcement about it, just because it's always been in the pretty distant future, and I'm one of those guys. I don't like to talk. I like to do, and I wasn't sure I was close enough to it, but I actually intend to do what I just call it's not a charity. It's a goodwill effort. I want a guide strictly for people with mobility impairments, whether they be wounded warriors or just maybe kids that grew up mobility impaired and that'll never change. But there's a lot of people out there like that. I want to find people who have overcome things with the type of spirit remaining that is inspiring, and give them an awesome day on the river. And I'm going to call it Guided Heroes. I will be taking out everything from veterans to little kids that might be inspiring, but it'll be completely, nonprofit, just totally free, not for hire. I won't be for hire, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm working on those channels, and I have a goal of having that actually operational by the end of this year. But I got some T's to cross and I's to dot. So
right, understandable.
Yeah.
Great outlook. Well, Quinton, we've really enjoyed having you on Catfish Weekly tonight. Appreciate you spending your Monday evening with us. Been a great show. I think we covered a lot of ground. We answered a lot of questions in chat. I'm sure we missed we've covered quite a bit of stuff.
I truly enjoyed it. I hope it won't be the last time. I mean, I watch your show all the time, and I'm thrilled to have done it.
Oh, I'm glad you did. We visited with you for a brief moment down at the conference, but it's hard to remember everybody and get the people on, but we had such a good time at Quincy, and I was so proud of you for going out there to the retired people's place and doing your video up there. That was one of the highlights. I didn't know that was going on, as many
didn't either
going up there, or I would have been out there, but I was really proud that you went out there and spent your time with those veterans that was not able to make the thing and fished in the pond and stuff. That was we're going to try to make plans to do that next year. That was a really cool deal you did.
It was a very, very good time, guys. You definitely should check it out. There was a little bit of everybody fishing, but man, that guy that I was luckily enough to team up with, Jim was his name. I won't say his last name. Man, what a hoot. I'm telling you, if I could just repeat some of our conversations, it was so much fun. It was really fun.
That's the highlight of what we do by going there is having a good time and trying to make sure that they have a good time too.
Yeah, that was a blast. That's for sure.
It sure was.
It was good seeing you there. I only got to see you the night of the luncheon and then the day of the weigh-in. That was it.
Yeah, well, we were all running around pretty busy, you know, trying to find fish and trying to meet people and whatnot. But I'll tell you what, if I go back there, I can assure you my Saturday will be spent at the Veterans Home once again because that was the place to be.
Good deal.
I appreciate that. Sure can. Well, listen, thank you again. We've got to get you back on here, and we're going to be down in Memphis, so maybe we'll all get together, go out to dinner or something. I know I'd enjoy that.
Yeah,
I'll bring the car.
Oh, there you go.
You know, I've got something to go with it.
Okay.
Well, thanks again, Quinton, and we'll be talking to you really soon.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Quinton.
Bye-bye.
And what a great guest to have on the show tonight, Doc. He was outstanding. He answered a lot of questions, didn't shy away from anything, just done what he had to do and went along.
Yeah, very good.
What do you have for upcoming events or tournament results, Doc?
I got one, Sandusky Bay. This is up on Lake Erie, Central Ohio Catfish. First place, Sean Dolphin and Craig Williams, 73.35 pounds. These are channel cats.
That's giant weigh-in right there.
Yeah. Big fish was by Sean and Craig, and it was a 22-pounder. Second, Rod and Brett Weiss, 68.90 pounds. Third, Robert Bethler and Donald, 65 pounds. And that's all I've got. I got a call. I didn't get a chance to get any others because I had work tonight.
Yep. I have first of the Mike Paget Benefit Catfish Tournament that was held down in Texas. Winners, first place was Craig Galloway and Denise Galloway and Jonathan Watts with 36.8 pounds. Earned them $1,100. Second place was Levi and Duke Pickett with 29.28 pounds. Earned them $600. They also had Big Fish, which is 20.7-pound blue, worth $250. Third place was James Huffington, Gary Martin with 24.68, won $300. Fourth place went to Randy Bain and Mike Paget. And Stick with, that must be a dog or a kid, I'm not sure which, 19.6 pounds was $200. And the lowest placing team to weigh in was Tammy Sack, Chris Rhodes with 2.74 pounds, earning them $100. I want to wish my grandson, Nicholas Stokes, happy birthday. 3 today. So that's his birthday. I do have an announcement. I don't know what we got going on there, but Eddie Henney and Lydia Lail first place with 65.7 pounds. Big Fish with a total weight of 107. Andrew Carnes and Randy Morgan, 100.2 pounds. Joel Roberts and Jackson Van Leer, 77.1 pounds. Gerald Peterson and Brian Britt, 65.1 pounds. Alan Lockery and Justin Lockery, 49.6 pounds. And that's all the results I have, Doc.
All right.
How about a Doc's tip of the week?
Well, it's June, and looks like everybody's starting to go dark. Dark 30, where people are starting to fish at night because it's hot during the day. My tip for the night, Make sure you check your flashlights, your batteries, make sure that they work. This is kind of cool. I mean, we talked about this. You know, you got all kinds of different flashlights. If you're using spotlights, we use spotlights on the river. Make sure if they're rechargeable, make sure they're charged up and ready to go. And that's Doc's tip for the night.
Well, that's a pretty good tip, and that's something that we all should be paying attention to. I'm looking for something right here. As soon as I find it, well, we have a new deal that we're going to work on, Doc. It's called Spotlight segment. We are going to start having a spotlight segment for people that want us to review and tell us about a product that they have. So if you have a company that has a certain product that you would like us to showcase, evaluate, please contact me at Catfish Weekly, and we will give you the hookup on what it takes to be involved with this. And we'll do a review on it, possibly a video of testing the stuff. There's some variables in what it is and how we go about doing it, but we're going to be starting that very soon. And it'll be something that you can get a product showcased on the show and through our Facebook page. So be sure to comment on that.
Carl Wells was, what about products that don't work? We have done that before. If it doesn't work, we show people that it doesn't work.
That's a fact. That's a fact. We hate to do that, but you know, it is what it is, and we're not going to. What? Oh, we're not going to be telling somebody that, or telling our viewers that it's a great product if it in fact is not a great product. I would rather not say anything about it at all than give somebody a false deal. I want to thank everybody for the likes tonight. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us on Facebook. We're always glad to see new names, and we've got a bunch of new subscribers this week. So thank you all for that. Remember, when you're watching the show, if we reach 150 likes, we will give away an extra spin on the prize wheel that week. Yep. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Yeah. That's what, Sunday, 17th?
Sunday. Yep.
Yep.
So
who we got on the show next week, Law?
Next week, we're going to have Eddie and Ann White visiting with us. I think that'll be a lot of fun. We had them on some time back, but they've had a bunch of stuff going on, and they've been tearing up some catfish tournaments on the giant channel cat up north. So I'm anxious to visit with them again. And just as a reminder, the following week, we're going to have Chris Flores on. And Chris has got a big giveaway, and they're going to announce the winner on Catfish Weekly, the 25th. Cool. And then we will draw our name for the 2,500 subscriber giveaway that same week. So it'll be a great show. You want to make sure you tune in for that. And that's all right for tonight, Doc.
Yep. And as always, we thank you for hanging with us on a Monday night. Tune in next week, and we appreciate the thumbs up.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching Catfish Weekly.